Hello, and welcome
Hello.
to the Death Battle Cast, the show where we argue and complain about characters that we kind of sort of might know. We'll see what happens this episode. Hey, I'm Ben. I'm the voice of a Wiz in Death Battle, joined, of course, by Chad. Voice of Boomstick. What's up, Chad?
Hello.
How you doing?
If you're new to the show and you're listening or watching, stick around. It's better than Ben sold it.
Nah, I mean, sometimes,
So-
sometimes we'll have a really good episode, but usually
This
we're just
episode's
gonna,
going to be great.
And joining us, we have producer of the show, Aaron.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Happy to be here.
And editor of the show, Nick. Or
Hey, what's going on?
He
How's it
obviously
going?
prefers to be called, right?
Yeah,
Mr. Nicholas.
yeah. You know, it's weird. Like, everybody in my family called me Nicholas growing up. And at some point in like 8th grade, I just decided, you know what? Outside the family, I'm going by Nick. But like, even to this day, it's just weird to me if somebody in the family calls me Nick. It's like, I don't like it. Call me Nicholas.
That's
But,
strange.
and
I
it's the
never knew
inverse outside the family. So like, when you call me Nicholas, that's freaking weird, man.
that.
You should apologize.
I was like, I didn't know that fact, and I've known you for 15 years. So let's go.
All right, so if you're new to the show, like Chad mentioned, and you think this is going to be boring as I have sold it, it's not going to be boring because we're going to be talking about a potential matchup that we have seen requested quite a few times. Zelda from, Legend of Zelda, that game, versus Lucina from Fire Emblem. We, at this point, I don't think we've never had a death battle with a Fire Emblem character, have we?
I don't think so.
DX or two. Can't remember.
No, I don't think we've had a Fire Emblem character. And this is, if it wasn't obvious to the audience, the reason why I think we're choosing this matchup is because Tears of the Kingdom, and this was less planned, but also Fire Emblem. What's the new one called?
Engage.
I already forgot what it's called.
There you go.
Thank you. We got the Fire
Engage.
Emblem expert in here. Yeah, Engage. Yep. So
Yep.
hey, yeah, they're both getting 2 new cool games coming out in the foreseeable future. So why not have them fight to the death?
Which
Yeah.
Engage, like, you can summon old characters, right? Isn't that a thing? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
It looks like you can summon Marth. I assume
Yeah.
you can do that with other characters. I'm not a Fire Emblem expert. I played the one on Game Boy Advance, the first one that came stateside, and that was it. Yeah.
Well,
I would
know
assume
there
you can do other
are-
characters too.
There have been games, especially when Amiibos came out, you could use those to summon certain Fire Emblem characters in other games. So Lucina appears in multiple games as just a summonable ally, essentially, through her Amiibo. Same with
Oh,
Chrom, Roy, Marth, etc.
Yeah, I think
so
you can
now they're
summon
just
her
making
in
it part of the
Monster
game?
Hunter. And of course there's Smash
Yeah, yeah.
Brothers as well.
Of course, Smash Brothers. So, all right. Also, if you have not seen it, there is a brand new death battle out. We have Black Adam versus Apocalypse out just in time before the Black Adam movie comes out. Gee, we totally didn't plan that, did we, guys? That wasn't part of the plan at all. That's never how death battle works.
And man, it was a sick fight track from Omega Sparks, Swats, and Brandon Yates, man. So good.
Oh yeah. It's very good. It's one of my favorites this season, honestly. It's like that and the one from Thor Vegeta.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's
Princes of
Yeah,
Power. I
awesome.
believe.
Yeah.
Princess of Pride.
Good
Princes of
one.
Pride. That's what it
Actually.
is. So close.
I don't have my glasses, otherwise I'd push them up my nose.
The one that revealed that Brandon really should probably just make a Viking metal album at some point because it's just so freaking good. Yes, so be sure to check out Black Adam versus Apocalypse. We also have a new episode coming out that was announced at the end of that one, which is sort of a twist on a very popular a request. But we can talk about that later on in the show. So here's how this is going to work with Zelda versus Lucina. Nick is going to be representing Zelda. I am going to be representing Lucina. And it's our job to convince the jury to vote for our respective character through any means necessary. The jury is going to consist of 3 seats. Aaron, it's Chad, That's you watching from home. Seeing you guys in the chat right now. Seeing a bunch of cool badges. We are on silver badges. Were we on silver badges before? Did I just miss that?
I think it's
we were
recent.
Awesome.
I think it was
Yeah.
last week.
Well, I might have missed that last week. That we have people with silver badges, but I love it. It's great to see those silver badges. Everybody who's got badges, everybody who's a member, thank you so much for supporting our shows and helping us through making these shows and through the years as we continue to make Death Battle, Cast DBX, etc. We really appreciate you guys being here. But you guys are going to be one of the major votes to decide who wins between Zelda and Lucina. And of course, this isn't a courtroom. Everybody's part of the conversation. So if you're in the chat watching this live, you can join in and let us know, if we're right about something or if we're wrong about something or if we missed something. To be honest, I might need a little bit of help from you guys on Lucina. There's a lot.
Well, you announced that you were defending her, and people just started saying "Rip Ben." So
well, maybe we'll see. We'll see. I found some stuff. So I fell off the Fire Emblem track during. I played the Game Boy ones that came stateside, and then after the GameCube ones, I kind of fell off the track. So I unfortunately did not play Awakening when it came out. So I'm less familiar with Lucina than some of the other characters. Nobody remembers any of the characters from the original Game Boy one. Nobody remembers Hector. I like Hector a lot, but
He's the axe
nobody
guy.
cares about Hector.
The surprise twist, he's just going to argue for Hector.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he's got blue hair too. But
Yeah, let's just change it
blue-haired.
mid-cast. It's fine.
Yeah.
We can...
Yeah, Captain Crunch it.
Battle axe. He's cool. But anyway, yeah. So I might need a little bit of help with some of the weird, specifics about Lucina's story. But outside of the story, I think I got a pretty good argument for her. But anyway, so we're gonna start with opening statements. Nick, do you want to start?
No.
60 seconds uninterrupted.
Yeah, let's go.
Fine. Okay.
Let's go.
All right, go for it.
All right, Zelda, what's to say? This is the titular princess, the titular legend of Zelda. Anyway, there's all kinds of different versions of Zelda, and just like Link, Zelda is one of those main characters of the cast that gets reincarnated time and time again. So over the many years, over the many timelines, she's accumulated all kinds of different powers and abilities. There are some that are kind of overlapping and stuff like that. But I mean, between Sheikah's Slate, between her sword, between her Sheik ability and transformations and stuff like that, not to mention the Triforce of Wisdom, I think she has honestly everything she needs to take on Lucina. I don't know anything about Lucina. All I know is blue-haired version of Marth that doesn't have the tipper mechanic and something about a butterfly mask. That's all I know. So I'm pretty sure Zelda's got this. Educate me about Lucina, Ben. No, I never take up the full time because I never planned this thing. I never planned my little opening spiel. I just have bullet points.
You gotta take a note from Billy. Billy's the master.
Yeah, he's
he times his out.
Unfortunately, I once did the whole Knuckles rap as one, and ever since then, I have not prepared any of these opening statements because it was terrible. All right, so let me set the stage for Lucina. 60 seconds. Lucina is one of the most powerful characters in the Fire Emblem multiverse because she is a descendant of the Exalted, one of the Exalted. And the Exalted in this universe are people who have basically a pact with a dragon, a divine dragon, to be able to wield the falchion, which we'll get into later. It's basically a holy sword. It's the master sword of the Fire Emblem universe. She grew up in an era where everything was shit. It's funny that we announced Silver for Death Battle, the next episode of Death Battle, because she basically has the same backstory as Silver. The universe went to shit. A big evil monster thing showed up and just ravaged the planet. And she grew up in that post-apocalyptic universe, becoming a master swordsman, master with a lot of different weapons, and eventually traveled back in time to stop the apocalypse from happening and succeeded. Unlike Silver, who really didn't. I don't know why that turned into sort of a dig on Silver, but
what an opening statement.
Yeah, so she is an incredibly skilled fighter. And I think, honestly, the big crux of my argument for Lucina is going to be Zelda is a person who commands fighters to do her bidding, whereas Lucina is a master warrior through and through. She is one of the most powerful characters throughout all the games. When she shows up, she's wielding the falchion, which is Marth's weapon, it's Crom's weapon. Hers has been awakened. It has the full power. Basically, in the lore, use the fire emblem to unlock the full power of the falchion. Only an exalted person can do this. She's done it, so it is capable of fighting things like Grima, the fell dragon that destroyed the world. So she's incredibly powerful and incredibly skilled. And I don't know how Zelda's gonna. I know Zelda has a lot of cool magic and has the Triforce of Wisdom, but I have no idea how she's gonna be able to have the power to match what Lucina can just deliver.
Lily Mandragon says, Ben, she also held her own against Captain Falcon.
She.
It's a really good
that's
point.
a really cool trailer. It's I believe it's the same team that animated Awakening.
That's right. Yeah, that does sound right to me. So you're not sure how Zelda's going to have the power to match Lucina? I do, because we established in a meeting before this that we were going for a composite Zelda. So I'm pulling from every single thing I freaking can. Yes, we did.
Okay.
And so
You were in that meeting, Ben.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you allowed this to happen. You allowed this to happen. You're about to reap what you've sown.
I will say,
we'll
though,
see.
I do believe it was Liam when you asked that question. I believe Liam was the one that was like, yeah, do a composite.
Yeah,
And
he
then
did
it's not
say
even
that,
here.
and then nobody
Yeah,
challenged
exactly.
him. He just moved on. So,
Of course, Liam is trying to screw me over even when he's on the show.
Yeah. So there's a couple of games in the Dynasty Warrior series, and I know this applies to Fire Emblem as well. I'm curious if you have anything to pull from this for Lucina, but the Hyrule Warriors spin-off games. There's Hyrule Warriors where there's a couple of versions of Zelda that just go ham on armies. But then also in I believe the more story-driven Age of Calamity. When I say more story-driven, I mean like it is a proper prequel to Breath of the Wild. So it is something more quote-unquote canonical to go off of. I don't know if I should pull out the big guns right off the bat, but I'm going to do it. There is, those guardians in Breath of the Wild, those things that shoot lasers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She can dodge them. It's light. She's just dodging light in Age of Calamity. So, that's a thing that I imagine we're going to want to get into and dissect a bit, but I'll just leave that on the table for now. In Breath of the Wild, she kept Calamity Ganon sealed for a straight century using her magic. And this is Ganon we're talking about.
Mhm.
Like, perhaps there's something in the Zelda lore that I'm forgetting that meant she could do that to Ganon. But if she can do that to Ganon, I don't see how she couldn't do that to Lucina either. Again, I'm learning about Lucina,
Just
a lot of
seal
this for
her
the first
away?
time here. Yeah, seal her away is one way that she could conceivably defeat her. Not to mention, going back to the straight up fighting ability that you were talking about earlier, Ben, even outside of Breath of the Wild continuity, in Twilight Princess, granted we only saw her at the very end of her kingdom falling, but she was straight up holding a rapier, a sword in her hand. Like, she was ready to throw hands with people, and presumably she did.
Okay.
Presumably.
I gotta
Presumably,
stop
yes,
that
but-
last one. She was seen holding a sword, so presumably she knows how to use it and did succeed. Is a very wild assumption.
I'm sorry, are you talking
Yeah,
about
but
when
this-
Zant invades?
Yes, I'm pretty sure. There's the cutscene where
She's
she
standing at
drops
the
the
throne
sword.
and she's holding a sword, and then she gives up by just dropping it. She doesn't even do anything. Like the armies
on
come in.
screen,
and
she
she's
doesn't
like,
do anything. But
I can't do anything against this. Lucina would have cut Zant's head off. Like, it would have been over instantly.
And I mean, correct me if I'm
What were you
wrong,
saying,
Nick, but isn't it that Zelda's whole ability to be able to seal away Ganon is contingent on the fact that he's evil?
I don't know about that because, like,
Well, I'm
if
going
you're-
to say yes.
Yeah.
well, I don't know if it's a specific, they have to be evil kind of thing. I just know that Ganon is like the mother of all evil in Zelda. So like, of course, he's the one that they're gonna, use this ability on if they
Sorry.
really had to pick one person.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but like somebody
Go
in the
ahead.
chat just became a champion. First of all, thank you, and I just want to point out that their name is Super Poopatron.
Hey, welcome.
This is wonderful
Welcome.
news.
Thank you, Poopatron.
This is fantastic news.
Glad to have you. Okay, so if you want to join people like Super Poopatron as a champion, you should. By the way, champions, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we've started releasing a new like extra podcast show just for you guys. So if you go to the YouTube channel after this, you can find Champion Cast for members. Basically just after each Death Metal cast, like we just once we're done wrapping up the live show, we kind of shoot the shit for another like 50 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, so that's the
Talk
thing, is
about
like
whatever.
we love doing the show, like to hang out with y'all and everything. So we would always just hang out after the show, talking about the show or just like talking about other stuff, because also like we all like each other and miss each other and don't get to see each other as often. So it's fun. Anyway, I was just like, dude, this is like great member content. Like we talk about the episode anyway. Sometimes we go further. We're like, you had me on that one, but like, and we're just like, why don't we just record this and give it to our wonderful champions? So hope you guys are enjoying it. The last one is very nerdy and very, very spoilery.
I had to slap so many spoiler wordings on it.
Oh yeah,
Just like
Spoilers
you've been
for
warned.
I totally missed this one.
It's for House of the Dragon and Rings of Power, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 shows
Yeah.
I'm not watching.
So if you're
Awesome.
caught up
We
on
just-
that,
You fully talked about all the episodes out to that point in detail.
anyway, we should probably stop before we start spoiling it now. Okay.
But
Anyway,
yeah, it'll go live on Friday right after this gets posted. So if you're watching this on Friday, it's already there for you. If you're watching live with us today, it'll be there for you Friday.
There's already, I think, 3 of them for you to check out.
yeah.
Cool. All right. So yeah, sorry for derailing it briefly. Let's bring it back. Because I think there's a lot more to talk about in terms of this. I think it's easy to look at Lucina and Zelda and think like, okay, Zelda's got crazy magic that, she's a descendant of the goddess Hylia or whatever. So there's like god powers involved. But Lucina's got a lot of crazy shit, especially if we are going to branch out into other things. There are some Fire Emblem games that she appears in that I think are going to blow Zelda out of the water. Before we get to
We'll
that,
see.
I do want to talk about our first sponsor for this week's episode. Wait to switch, haha. Let's see, which is Blue Chew. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew, a longtime sponsor of the show and of Death Battle. Guys, confidence can take you far in life. It can also help in the bedroom when it's time to step up to the plate. That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but as chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night. And it's simple. Just sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And it's all online, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and shipped directly to your door in a discreet package. If you could benefit from the extra confidence when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. And we've got a special deal just for you. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code DBC at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code DBC to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. Thanks, Blue Chew, for sponsoring this podcast. Blue Chew's
Appreciate it.
supported us for so long, you'd think I'd have their entire ad like memorized by this point.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Blue Chew. Blue Chew. All right. So, we want to talk about alternate universe games. As you mentioned, Fire Emblem also has a Dynasty Warriors type game, right?
Yes, it's got 2.
The villain in that game. Who's the villain in the Dynasty Warriors games for Zelda? Do you remember?
I mean, it's
Like the
Calamity
ultimate, the big
Ganon in Age of Calamity. Because
Calamity Ganon.
it's the prequel.
Do you remember the villain of the first one?
No, I do not.
The elf?
Let me.
Her name's Sia?
She's a bad guy. knew
Do
she
you
was
remember
playable.
her like ultimate plan?
No, so I've been like,
We'll come back to that. So
yeah, I've not played that game yet.
let's
so-
compare these villains, these like ultimate villains. These are like the ultimate crossover games of those universes, right? So in
If you're to say
the
the final-
Fire Emblem, in the Fire Emblem Dynasty Warriors game, which I think is just called Fire Emblem Warriors, the ultimate villain, the big bad, is a dragon called a Chaos Dragon that eats worlds, devours entire planets. The villain that they have to fight in the Zelda Dynasty Warriors game, her big evil plan is she just wants to fuck Link. That's literally all she wants to do. And Waking Ganon, but you know, she's really horny for Link. So there's a really big difference in terms of the kinds of villains that we're fighting here. We're talking about a dragon that is so powerful it can devour entire planets and entire worlds.
Okay.
And the way that they beat him is they hit him with a sword, like the falchion. The falchion is specifically designed to actually fight things that are on like a global scale. Awakening is about the fell dragon Grima, who is like an opposite to the divine dragon Naga that the Exalted are sort of connected to. Grima destroys the planet, basically wrecks it in Lucina's past, and so with the falchion, she's able to fight it. It's one of the only weapons that can actually reach a fell dragon's level of power. So it kind of makes sense that the falchion would be able to combat something like a chaos dragon, which can destroy an entire world. So what about that? I mean, Zelda's not fighting somebody who eats a planet. She's not fighting Galactus.
I mean, you're right. She's not. She's only fighting Ganon, who, depending on, you know what I should have done? I should have looked at our own, reminded myself of our own interpretation of Ganon from Ganon versus Dracula. That's on me, guys. So
in that one, we totally just scaled him to like, oh yeah, Ganon, you know, he can punch a building.
Yes.
Yeah.
he can do more
Building
than
level
that.
Ganon.
No, Ganon can do more than that, man. You're pulling my chain, because Ganon wields the Triforce of Power, and I don't know if you know this, but the Triforce of Power makes you pretty freaking strong. I mean, like with Calamity Ganon, again, going back to that, because she did participate in a direct fight against him. This Ganon, presumably, it would just make logical sense for this Ganon to be at least as powerful as the four giants from Majora's Mask. And if you remember, those four giants held up the moon, which, if it collided into the Earth or into the planet, it would have destroyed all of Termina, at least. That's like a continent. So give Zelda some credit. She can
Continent, planet.
Yeah, well, Nick, Sponge God Omnipants says, Nick, Chad, someone quick. Bring up that Zelda has the full Triforce by the end of Breath of the Wild, and yes, it's standard to destroy all of Ben's arguments.
Yeah, I'm simultaneously holding that one in my back pocket until the right moment, and also trying to verify that because I just want to make sure that's true. So
Does she? I don't know if she has the full
SpongeGod.
Triforce at the end of Breath of the Wild.
They imply that she does.
This is taking me back to my researching days, because just for this one episode, I've already got like 36 tabs open, trying to figure out all these multiple Zeldas.
Yeah, floating shopping list just brought up what I want to bring up. How does Lucina time travel? Can she just do it?
So from what I understand, no. It was a ritual essentially that a bunch of kids in the future used to get back. I don't know if she actually ever makes it back. It's left unclear. She's not like a time travel. She doesn't have time travel powers. It's not like her thing.
Okay.
It's like a magic ritual they undertook.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up time travel, because BT dubs, remember at the very end of Ocarina of Time when Zelda has the Ocarina of Time and she sends Link all the way back to childhood?
Mm-hmm.
While they're in the
Just
Sacred
saying.
Realm.
Yeah, while they're in the Sacred
she has
Realm.
to play a whole ass song.
Sorry, can you imagine that fight? She's just running around, like trying to get through the song, like
Playing the song of time.
Oh, no,
if
no,
I
no.
finish this song, you're gonna be a child again, and this is gonna be really like, you know. Like,
She doesn't have to do that, though. You know why? Because she has the Sheikah Slate. The Sheikah Slate can hold things in stasis. That's not only useful in the middle of battle to like guarantee a hit. and like multiple hits at that, that's more than enough time to play the Song of Time and send her back to the past. It's more than enough time. And when you have the Sheikah Slate, you just instantaneously freeze something in space and time, and it is helpless.
You got to target it.
Sure, you got to target it, but again, we're talking about somebody who I'm putting forward can dodge light. She's very fast. I think she can keep up with Lucina. I don't know how fast Lucina is, so that's kind of a bold
light magic is
statement
a thing
for you to try to knock down
in Fire Emblem games. Like there are light mages and dark mages, and the light mages shoot sunlight. So I think there's an argument to be made that she could dodge light. Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, she is able to
every
dodge.
attack is
Can Lucina dodge? Okay, so Lucina can dodge light.
Like if we're going with this, if we're going with the idea that like any laser that we see is light speed, then technically every single Fire Emblem character can dodge light.
Well, that's fine. We don't have to use the Guardian thing because she is directly scalable, I would argue, to Link in Ocarina of Time, who we've reinforced in multiple episodes of Death Battle dodges Beamos light beams, and that is like stated to be beams of light. If Link can dodge that as like a 7-year-old kid, pretty sure Zelda, can keep up with that as well. Again, we don't play as Zelda. We don't see Zelda in direct action a lot of the time, so we do have no choice but to kind of make some assumptions. But there is absolutely a connection there.
I mean, again, and this is really going to come down to the judges here. This is going to come down, Aaron, Chad, and you guys in the chat. Like, we are talking about feats from non-canon games versus canon games, and one of these characters we're going to seemingly be relying entirely on non-canon stuff for Zelda, whereas Lucina has stuff from both that are going to be wildly supporting each other.
What's non-canon with Zelda? Out of curiosity,
she's never dodged a Beamos. Like she's not dodging
Beamos,
light beams in canon games.
A Guardian that takes place, who knows how many centuries after Ocarina of Time. I would assume technology got better since Ocarina of Time, because Breath of the Wild is implied to be the like end of the Zelda timeline. I don't think it's been officially placed, but like it's heavily implied.
But have you seen how hard she can kick a soccer ball? No, I'm just kidding. That's right. That's Peach.
C-Dub is asking, do we count CDI Zelda? Is there something in CDI Zelda that would matter here? I guess she technically has combat experience in that one.
Hold on, versus battles.
She does have does she have a sword in that one, or is it a wand? I can't remember.
Dude, doesn't she go on adventures in the cartoon though?
Kind of.
Oh god, I haven't watched that in a million years.
The cartoon is mostly just Link perving on her. Yeah. And she's like active and involved.
She's more competent in that one, and I think she has a staff.
I mean, let's be real, Zelda's always been competent. You mean like in terms of just ability to fight?
Combat.
Gotcha.
I don't remember if she ever fights in the cartoon. Yes, the Excuse Me Princess cartoon.
Yes, that one. That's what I'm trying to find. This is the most important research.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I just don't think, like, yes, you can pull out feats for Zelda where she's like, she seals away Ganon using the power of the Triforce, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, okay, how does that apply to this situation? How is she going to specifically use the Triforce of Wisdom against Lucina in a way that, like, we know is possible? There's not really a lot we can pull from, like, official material outside of she's in the Warriors game and they, use swords.
No, she seals Ganon away in various ways in various timelines. Like one of the most famous probably would be Ocarina. And granted, she does that with the help of 6 other sages. I fully acknowledge that. But it's such a reoccurring thing that it's reinforced, again, in Breath of the Wild, when Zelda, just by herself, holds Calamity Ganon, like seals him in the castle for a straight century nonstop. Like a literal 100-year period. She's... Yeah.
Using the Triforce. Smash Bracket in the chat did mention, are we including, does Lucina get all of her classes? So one of the things, this is kind of why I definitely would like some help from you guys chat, because I didn't play Awakening, I'm not entirely sure how this works. But from what I understand, you get to choose Lucina's mother. in Awakening.
Mhm.
Her father's Crom, but her mother could be one of like 5 or 6 different women. And depending on who you pick, her stats are different, and she has different classes available. So if we're including all non-canon material for Zelda, technically that means all of those versions of Lucina are being composited here. And I don't exactly know what all the differences are. um, Presumably it's nothing that would be like too big for this. Maybe she's faster in one version or has like slightly different, I don't know, magic in another. I don't know. Oh yes, one of them can be you. You can be, if you are Lady Robin, I believe you can be her mother. So, or or all of them, I guess. So I don't know if there's any difference there. Let me know. But basically, I think that just means that she's got. Even though we were talking about Zelda across like multiple different games, in a way, Lucina has a bunch of different games as well because each version of the game that you play of Awakening could have a completely different origin to Lucina. Yeah, Mandragon. I was kind of surprised by that. Just said Awakening unless you pick genetics. Jeez. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because like the idea that like you have to like because you have to work the Fire Emblem has the relationship mechanics, right? You have to like make sure to set up Crom with whoever you want the mother to be, and then they do the thing, and then out pops baby Lucina, and then next mission, future Lucina shows up. It's like, I'm your daughter, and her stats depend on who you got to do the thing, which is interesting, but also a little fucked up. I don't know.
DJ says all non-canon versions of Lucina would include Project X Zone, and Lucina fought Mega Man X. There's all the classes in Awakening. Then the Gacha game, which has ludicrously powerful bosses.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm going to get to that in just a bit, but I think now's a good time. We should probably take a quick break to talk about our second sponsor, Factor. Let me talk about Factor a bit. When autumn comes to mind, what do you think of? For me, it's a packed schedule. We're almost at the holiday season after all. It's getting really busy. Luckily, Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery can keep me fueled up and feeling good, no matter how crazy my days and nights will get. Whether you need a quick lunch or a nutritious meal that's ready in minutes, Factor makes it easy. And it's both cheaper and healthier than takeout, which at the end of the day is something I think we can all appreciate. That's something that I definitely appreciate a lot. Factor is perfect for an on-the-go lifestyle. Their fresh, never frozen meals are delivered ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which is kind of insane to me, but I've tried it and it legitimately works and it tastes pretty dang good. And now Factor offers over 30 meals per week, plus more than 36 add-on options like smoothies, juices, snacks, and so on. I got a bunch of smoothies in my box that I wasn't actually expecting when I initially got it, and they were delicious. It was really good. Factor's got everything you need, and Factor's extra flexible. You can change your order up every week with plans that can give you anywhere from 4 to 18 meals throughout the week. If you don't need Factor for a bit, you can also pause and reschedule your deliveries anytime. So head to go.factor75.com/cast130 and use the code cast130 to get $130 off 6 boxes. It's a crazy deal. That's code cast130 at go.factor75.com/cast130 for $130 off. Thanks so much, Factor. All right, Nick, let me talk about the real reason why Lucina destroys. Okay. So, as DJ mentioned, thank you, DJ, there are a bunch of other non-canon games that Fire Emblem has, right? One of them, so first of all, there's one that's like Shin Megami Tensei, which apparently has a creature that like is like universe level and like obliterates the universe, which I don't know anything about it, but it's apparently really powerful. So that's the thing. But the big one is Fire Emblem Heroes, which is the gacha game that DJ mentioned. Heroes has a lot, from what I understand, it has a bunch of every season in Heroes, or book I think is what it's called, has a villain, and in one of those, the villain's name is Freyja. Am I getting that right? Freyja. Frasier. Yeah, so they had to fight Frasier. Frasier and her brother Freyr, so there is kind of a Frasier, are the closest thing I can think of is to describe them is, or I think the easiest way to describe them is they are the gods of dreams and nightmares. They control dreams and nightmares. And it gets a little weird because apparently there are worlds within dreams and nightmares in Fire Emblem. We don't need to worry about that, but I think that kind of helps support what happens next. So they split their duties, but then shit goes bad when Frasier absorbs Freyr's power, and Frasier becomes goddess of the multiverse, capable of reality, of altering all of reality and throwing people into nightmares, changing their own reality, making them think people are gone, destroying everything around them, and basically becoming an evil god, capable of obliterating everything in existence. And how do you beat Frasier? Smack her a few times with a sword. Lucina can do that. And I see people saying, like, this is reaching, but if we are including something like the Dynasty Warriors games, this is the same kind of thing. This is actually even exactly the same kind of thing. It is just a collection of a bunch of Zelda stuff or Fire Emblem stuff thrown together into a single game. And this is something that is canon to that kind of universe of Fire Emblem. They fight a person who can literally manipulate the entire multiverse, which in Fire Emblem is established to be limitless because there are a bunch of different Fire Emblem worlds and timelines and whatnot. So I don't think there is a single entity in all of the Zelda universe that can match something this powerful.
Just because you can defeat something that's capable of destroying a multiverse doesn't mean you in turn can destroy a multiverse, though. I think, like,
no, Lucina's not going to be able to destroy a multiverse, but her sword is this magical sword that is designed to be able to overpower stuff like this. She is fast enough to fight somebody like this.
Here's one scenario that I keep sort of checking everything against in my mind. What's going to stop Zelda from using Nehru's Love, which is a defensive shield that, as far as I know, doesn't have a limit to what it can block, other than it just lasts for a minute. But it's a full minute. And during that minute, what's going to stop her from freezing Lucina in place with stasis, with a Sheikah Slate, and then blasting her in her little noggin with a light arrow, and then sealing whatever's left into the spirit realm, or what I forget what it's called. The
Phantom Zone, sure.
Yeah, the Shadow Zone,
the Twilight Zone.
I keep forgetting what it's called.
If the Falchion can defeat somebody as powerful as Frasier, it can shatter. It can definitely get through Nehru's Love, and the time to cast Nehru's Love, Lucina just cuts her head off. It's just over.
We're talking about, so maybe it's worth going down the speed rabbit hole a little bit more, because I like, at the highest reasonable estimates, it seems like they're about even there, like both capable of moving approximately light speed or dodging light at least. So I don't know, like if Lucina is going as fast as something that Zelda herself has dodged, and if she can then, use the instantaneous stasis thing to hold her in place, there goes Lucina's, balancing. God, I'm forgetting all my words today. There goes her way of evening the playing field, is what I'm trying to say.
Hey, Charles Nguyen, that Nick has established that it is all Zeldas, which means that all Fire Emblems are on the table.
Yeah, and maybe including every version of both these characters is a slippery slope that in a real episode we don't actually go down. Maybe we draw some kind of lines in a real death battle. So all bets are off in the death battle cast. So
I've been going through Legend of Zelda TV show clips. I've just been like kind of trying to find something, because just because there's got to be some weird stuff in there
right now.
It is important. I want to know. And listen, she can push a ghost. She can interact with the intangible.
Zelda herself has been a ghost before. In Spirit Tracks, she was killed. I have not brought that up because it seems pretty likely that it's the specific spell that the bad guy used to kill her that turned her into a ghost. Like, if she died by any other method, I don't think it's reasonable to assume that she could still be a ghost interacting with the world and possessing statues and whatever else she can do in that game. But she's been a ghost before too. Just throwing that out there. Oh man. I don't know. Like this is feeling like something that requires more research than either of us
That's
was
how
able
all
to
of
give
these
this.
go, right? And also, like, opening the floodgates to literally every single game and whatnot that these characters have been in does make it like this typhoon of like, what the hell are we even talking about? Lucina can fight somebody who can alter reality and time throughout all of the multiverse. What? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any logical sense if you play Awakening. I mean, I haven't played Awakening, but I assume it doesn't make any logical sense. So, you know, to a certain degree, like, we're kind of jumping out of, you know,
Jumping out of what is actually reasonable.
yeah, what is actually reasonable here. But
yeah,
if we're going to be reasonable about it and say just normal canon is what we're working with, Zelda's got nothing, man. Like, she's just going to get her head chopped off.
Oh crap!
So.
No. That even sticking with just what's canon, you still have Age of Calamity. Like that is absolutely.
That's not canon, though.
Why isn't it? It's a direct prequel to Breath of the Wild.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It is an alternate timeline prequel.
It is a what if story.
Yeah, it's an Elseworld story.
You're not helping.
Hey, I didn't slam it on you earlier. When you first mentioned it was canon. I was just like, but okay.
She was waiting for you to double down.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a what if story because it doesn't lead into they cancel the apocalypse.
Yeah.
In
Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is a
contradicts the
spin-off
lore
game of
of
the
Breath
Legend
of
of
the
Zelda
Wild.
series. It takes place in the world of Breath of the Wild in a different freaking timeline. God dang. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, and there's like I remember us looking into this for I think it was Link versus Cloud. Like, can it be considered just canon in a different timeline? And there are I don't remember specifically what it was, but we did find that there were certain inconsistencies where like they would establish something in Breath of the Wild as this happened, blah blah blah, and then in Age of Calamity, before all the timeline shenanigans happens, the actual like existing timeline is different. So it's a little too far out there. I mean, I think there's an argument to be made that it could be connected, but even then, like,
Yeah,
it doesn't match up.
The whole timeline thing wasn't even conceived by the fan base until I don't even know how many games in at this point. But it's just a thing that Nintendo kind of retroactively adopted. So it's they're concerned with making games first and not so much telling a consistent, coherent story between them all. So there's bound to be inconsistencies one way or the other.
That's pretty similar to Fire Emblem. The Falchion appears in multiple Fire Emblem games. It looks completely different every time. I don't know why.
Fair.
The argument is that they're different universes, different timelines and whatnot. I think like that's the idea. That's the reason why Freyja being able to control the multiverse is like infinite multiverse power. Because it's like the Pokemon thing where like every single Pokemon game is a different timeline or whatever. It's that kind of thing. So I don't know. We're opening up. Yeah, what's up, Jen? I'm looking for other perspectives.
Yeah, no, we talked a lot about like all the different versions of power and stuff like that. They're both pretty killable characters, right?
Yeah,
like their durability isn't
by
like
the fact
super
that they've
insane.
Died. You know, like
I
would be
Lucina. You can consider has fairly high durability just because she survives her initial encounter with Grima, whose breath can kill you.
What?
Just breathing on you, yeah.
Like she is able to. I mean, it is because she is exalted.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's tied to the Falchion, she is a stronger person than normal.
Okay.
I saw somebody in the chat say something like, Lucina herself isn't all that, but her sword allows her to do a bunch of awesome stuff. And yeah, at the end of the day, it is kind of true. Her sword and her bloodline are where a lot of the powers come from, but like that's what we do here at Death Battle, so I don't know if why that would necessarily be a problem.
Yeah, and I mean, depending on like who her mom is and how you like sort out her classes, as it is with most Fire Emblem characters, you can really kind of up a durability or resistance level of a character as well. It's
I
just
love Michael
it's that fun
Rodriguez.
thing with Fire Emblem. It's like you make it your own character and it's like class build out, so you can make them as busted as you want.
I do love Michael Rodriguez pointing out, oh yes, they are very killable. The perfect weakness to exploit.
Sorry, when we look at, there's like a real big range of killable in Death
Are
Battle.
they killable?
Yeah. Yeah, but they're pretty killable, is what I'm saying, compared to like some of the other
Killable
Like,
compared to other characters.
More
yeah,
often than not,
for
in
sure.
their worlds, like they're not some almighty unkillable or even extraordinarily hard to kill things. At least not for the big bad of each story that they appear in.
Like,
But
would an arrow kill Lucina, for example? I would, because they're
what's
always
her armor
fighting with
like?
swords, so you'd think that
There
like,
are bows and arrows in
piercing
those games.
things.
I mean, there is the bow
would-
class.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of arrow, right? Like there are different types of weapons in the games. I believe there are light arrows. I think she can eventually get a bow that fires light arrows. Could be
interesting.
wrong. Chat, help me with that. But
What would happen if she got
I
shot
mean, you
by an
can
ancient
technically
arrow?
kill it. You could, when you are playing the game, if we're just taking gameplay mechanics into account, you could lose the game. I think she's a lord. If she dies and other characters swarm her and take her out, she does have a lot of hit points, and you can level her up to be much stronger. And depending on her mom, she might have more hit points.
Scarlett in the chat says for Lucina, based on Just Awakening, she has skills like Ether, which can heal herself based on her damage dealt to an opponent, so she can heal from striking Zelda.
I forgot about that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you, Scarlett.
The sword heals her. The sword inherently heals her all the time. So just the fact that she is connected to the sword, she has a healing factor.
Interesting.
Amazon Pandora, who wins if we give them both a shotgun?
Man, that's the Death Battle spinoff we need, right? Death Battle, shotguns only.
Dude, that boomstick would be all about that. Yeah. Like,
the next time we're trying to figure out who wins in a fight between two people, and that fight would just be like a stalemate. A portal needs to open up, and Boomstick needs to just hand both of them shotguns and leave, and let the fight continue from there.
Perfect.
This is how we should address ties from now on.
I mean,
for sure.
Look, I'm learning a lot about Lucina here. She is more impressive than I gave her for, because all I knew about her was something about a butterfly mask, and she's Marth in Smash Brothers without a tipper mechanic. That's literally all I know. There's more to her than that. I admit. I still am not hearing anything that convinces me.
How about this? SpongeBob Omnipants asks, who is a better shot? Lucina is, you can level up her as a bow knight, I believe is what it's called, a bow knight. So she's skilled in bow. I mean, she's already skilled in multiple weapons, spear, bow, sword, axe, etc. She is incredibly talented with a bow and can shoot things that are as powerful as Grima in canon, Fell Dragon capable of ravaging the planet.
Zelda was doing trick shots.
If we give her a bow,
in
there
Wind
are two
Waker.
games. Right,
Yeah,
there are two games where
she's doing
she
trick
fires
shots ricocheting off of the Link's shield
She sucks
as like a
at it.
10-year-old.
She fucking sucks with the bow. Like, you give her the bow
That's how she's programmed.
in Wind
though.
Waker.
Like,
She can't hit Ganon for shit. You have to distract Ganon. You have to distract Ganon, then she hits Ganon. If she just gave you the bow, like, I love Wind Waker. Wind Waker is like my favorite Zelda game. But like, I love that final boss, but I do in the back of my head always think, like, if she just gave me the bow, this fight would be over way faster. Like,
yeah, I
she
think
can't
that's more
hit
of a
Ganon for
testament.
shit.
I think that's more of a testament to.
And even more, sorry, but there's more to it. When she finally decides, okay, he's too fast for me, I'm gonna hit your shield, and you deflect it back at him because she can't hit Ganon for shit. She starts aiming at you, and it's like, okay, she'll hit you more often than not. She also doesn't know when to fire. Like, you'll just not have the shield up, and she'll be like, oh god, I can't hold the bow string back, and she'll let it go and just strike you in the face with an arrow. She's not very good with the bow.
That's funny and all, but that is, I think, just how she's programmed, not how she actually is Like if
No,
the story
actually,
was
guys, I
there-
think it's probably because she just needed some glasses. All right. Because our third sponsor is Shady Rays, and this episode is brought to you by Shady Rays. You can see the read in my eyes, so I'm going to take these off. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Seriously, guys, I absolutely love these sunglasses. They have easily become my favorite pair of sunglasses. I've had my friends try and steal them. Luckily, I have two because my wife also stole a pair. They are hands down my favorite pair of sunglasses that I have ever had. And these durable frames are extremely clear. And extremely clear polarized lenses are perfect for your outdoor adventures. I actually had I got to test the durability of these because I had them on, right here because I went inside, and then my friend's dog was really excited to see me and jumped up and put their dog's nail all down the whole glasses, and I was like, oh man, am I gonna have to use their amazing warranty, which I'll tell you about in a second? Didn't even have to. It literally, it came out. They were durable. Look, they look great. Let's see. So that's not all. Every pair is backed by their lost and broken replacements deal. Basically, if you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they'll send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. And this is cool. With every order, I really love this. Shady Rays provides 10 meals to fight hunger in America. They've donated over 20 million meals to date. So you can look good in your shades and do some good for others too. Exclusively for you, our viewers and listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code DBC for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. You're going to want to, I promise. Like I said, my wife's already stolen a pair. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by 200,000 people. That's code DBC at shadyrays.com for 50% off.
Thank you for the sponsor.
Yeah, thank you, Shady Rays. And I was gonna grab my pair as well. They're really good, really high quality. Definitely check them out.
I love 'em.
I'm also loving the chat. You guys are hilarious. Lily Mandragon's just saying like Ganon's just smart enough to not stand still. So of course Zelda doesn't hit him. I love it.
That's the kind of thing I was trying to say. Like I think it speaks more to Ganon's the threat of Ganon than it does Zelda sucking. That's just my interpretation.
Before you were talking about like using Ganon and Link as a scaling, as a tool for scaling, and I think that sort of is evident that Ganon and Link are just above Zelda, like when it comes to actual physical combat. Like she cannot be scaled to them directly because they're just going to be better than her when it comes to dodging things, and like beams of light, when it comes to dodging light arrows, when it comes to attacking each other, like. I just don't think Zelda's at their level. And it makes sense, given her roles in the game and her abilities.
Yeah, like you play as Link, and you have to kill Ganon. You don't have to kill Zelda. Pretty sure the game doesn't let you do that most of the time. But also, that particular Zelda spent only like half the game or so even knowing she was Zelda. And even then, she spent most of that time in like a room underneath the ocean, like, you kind of just leave her there for a long time, don't you? Like,
yeah, she just kind of gets stuck in the throne room for a while.
Cut her some slack. Cut that particular iteration of Zelda some slack. She's doing the best she can. She's trying. She's trying really hard.
Doesn't she use a light arrow in Twilight Princess as well?
Yeah, she uses light arrows in Twilight Princess. She has them in Breath of the Wild. Granted, she gives them to Link, but she still has them. And they continue to show up in very non-canon versions of Zelda, like Smash Brothers and stuff like that too. So I only bring up those games because it just further reinforces that it's attached to Zelda in some form or fashion. Like, just because we shouldn't look at the way it works in Smash Brothers and, try to decipher how that weapon works or anything. It's just like Nintendo is acknowledging that this is a thing that is connected to Zelda in some way. So
okay.
That's my only reason bringing that up. The situation to beat in my mind, I'll say this one final thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is just, I still don't see anything that's going to stop. Like the situation in my mind to beat is Zelda freezing Lucina with stasis, and then just doing whatever she wants. She
and then just racking up a bunch of physics,
or send her back in time. It doesn't just turn her into a kid; it sends her back in time or seal her away like she does again. Like she's got
Okay.
options.
I do have to point something out.
Sure, go ahead.
Because you've brought up the Sheikah Slate multiple times.
It's strong.
Zelda could never use the Sheikah Slate. That was a major plot point in Breath of the Wild. She could not activate it. She could activate the camera mode.
But
it was meant for Link, not her. She couldn't realize that. She can't access the time stop.
We'll see what happens in Tears of the Kingdom. But if again, I know this is going down and opening up a can of worms I don't want to reopen fully, but like,
are we doing theoretical things now?
Yeah,
theoretically,
it is theoretical, but like this is Nintendo sanctioned. Like if they really had a problem with Zelda using the Sheikah Slate or whatever, they would have told Koei Tecmo, no, don't let her do that. Give her other means of fighting.
I don't know if they would have said that, but anyway, the poll is up. We are running out of time, so I think we've got plenty of information to go on. So the poll is up. Go ahead and get your votes in. Let's go ahead and we're going to start bringing up some answers before we get to the rest of the votes. We have some community answers from you guys, I believe. So let's go ahead and bring up the first one of those. Every time we do one of these polls, you can find it in the community tab on our YouTube page and leave one of these answers.
Yeah, this one's coming from James Clark. Lucina scales to Grima as she survived an encounter with him. By the way, Grima's roar is capable of straight up killing you. At minimum, she's castle level durability. At maximum, she's continent level durability. She has self-heal, almost unparalleled swordsmanship, and can pretty much rush Zelda down no problem. I really don't see Zelda winning this. Interesting.
James Clark is using completely canon material there, not branching into Fire Emblem Heroes or anything. So, thank you for that, James. Let's go ahead and bring up the answer for Zelda. The loser.
Oh, it's a short one. All right. Matt Rock J says, Age of Calamity Zelda really puts it in perspective how stupidly powerful the Sheikah Slate is. Zelda can just stop time, create literal nukes, and freeze forces in ice with the flick of a wrist. It's kind of ridiculous what it can do. Oh, yeah, and Zelda's goddess powers. She can contend with a god beast for a whole century. What? Zelda goddess?
I think that's about Wild. Calamity Ganon.
Yeah, she holds Calamity Ganon at a stalemate for 100 straight years nonstop.
Calling it a god beast, I think, is a little misrepresentative. Again, I would say Ganon could be comparable to Grima in a way. Like it's sort of implied that Calamity Ganon could basically do the same thing that Grima does. But Zelda doesn't kill Ganon, and Lucina does kill Grima. So you know. The Master Sword is designed to help seal Ganon away. The Falchion is designed to fucking murder Grima. So there's a little bit of a difference there. All right, so the poll is going. Let's go ahead and get. First, okay. So the first vote is from not the current live poll, but the poll in the community tab. Let's go ahead and bring that up. See what we're starting with.
Whoa! Overwhelmingly, Zelda.
I kind of saw this coming.
Okay.
Zelda's got an 85% on this one. This is before the cast started, though, right? And people weren't thinking about like, what can Lucina do outside of her normal Fire Emblem game? Also, Grima. So I think things might be different now, but we'll see. So, Chad, what you thinking?
I'm kind of torn because I want to know more about. I didn't know she was fighting Calamity Ganon for 100 years. I thought she
wasn't fighting him. She sealed him away, and she was part of that. She was like, I think the explanation is that she's inside him.
Yeah, but at the same time, she had to be able to essentially equal in some form or fashion whatever Ganon could dish out.
It's a battle of wills. It's a battle of wills.
Yeah, and Dude Blade and Johnny, I did mention that a couple of times. I see you in the chat.
But I will say, I think he was thinking what I was thinking, which is what that made it seem like they were fighting for that long. Like, but I get it. So it's like Battle of Wills is a little different. Yeah. Okay. Man, I don't know. I feel like there's some stuff if we dig deeper into Zelda, and I feel like I'm gonna go with Ben because I feel Ben had a slightly stronger argument today. So I'm gonna go with Lucina.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
that's
Nick.
One for Zelda, one for Lucina. Aaron.
Yeah, they're both just so interesting, like, characters, and quite frankly, I do feel like we need like 5 more cast length episodes to fully talk through everything involved in these two and their core games. Man, yeah. Hard to say. Hard
I
to
know who
say.
you're gonna
I feel
say.
like
Come on, I already know.
all right, well, since Nick's sassing me, I'm gonna say Lucina.
Okay. So that's 2 for Lucina and 1 for I got you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
And 1 for Zelda. All right, let's go ahead
Do
and
you
bring
have
up
the
poll.
masses, Ben?
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Do you have the masses?
Go ahead and bring up the live chat poll. Maybe we're able to bring that up.
If not, Mike's on the board, by the way, today. So we might not have told him about that one. So we could just.
That's a good point. Sorry, Mike. All right, so we'll just say it. Chad, do you want to say it?
Yeah, dude. And it's Zelda for the chat with a 53 to 46%. So very, very close. So that's a tie.
The last time I raised the roof on ironic.
There we go.
There it is.
Nice, thanks, Mike. Okay, which means we have a tie.
tie.
A tie. Oh my gosh.
Guess that
All
means
right,
this needs to be a full episode, right?
Well,
Maybe.
maybe.
No, it means Mike gets to choose.
Yeah,
Mike's heard the
our
arguments.
Director of the show, running the show right now. It's up to him. Mike, who do you vote for? You are the tiebreaker. It's all
All
up
up
to
to
you,
you, man.
Yeah, I hate when y'all do this.
Lucina or Zelda?
Zelda.
I've always loved you, Mike.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Just gotta wait. Oh, it's
I'm
okay.
not
Here he
afraid
comes.
to.
Zelda.
Zelda!
Mike votes for
right.
Zelda.
Going to Zelda. Oh, man.
All right,
Totally
all right.
deserved. Totally deserved.
So,
Thank you.
Mike's word
Zelda
is law.
wins.
Zelda
The
wins.
tiebreaker. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of fun. Good job, Nick. That was fun.
Thank you.
And wild and bizarre, like jumping into all the non-canon stuff. All right, let us know. I think the biggest thing that I take away from this is that like Zelda is a character that I think would be great to bring back to Death Battle. We haven't seen her in Death Battle in a long time since season 1 when that Zelda Peach episode is.
Yep.
Meh. And we do really need some Fire Emblem characters in Death Battle, I think. Absolutely. And I think it would be great to explore them. So let us know who you think would be a good matchup for Zelda in the future, and what Fire Emblem matchups you want to see in the future. Is Lucina the character that you want to see, and who would she fight? Or is there maybe a different character? I've seen a lot of Fire Emblem suggestions over the years. And
I think we really need a Fire Emblem under our belt so we can at least research the universe and have that base. Like,
Well, hey, if you want
be able to come back to this and be like, I know everything.
Everything now. Yeah, exactly.
if you want to do a Fire Emblem episode and really get your feet wet with a bunch of characters, you could just have a battle royale of all the blue-haired protagonists.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Isn't
man.
that like 140 something? Like,
Probably is.
Hector!
Yep.
Hector's gonna win! Come on,
This is
Yeah,
an
there
over
it
to
is.
Hector for you, Ben.
Get all the way back around.
Marth.
All right.
Lucina,
Thank you guys so much
the
for
new
listening
one.
to and watching this episode of Death Battle Cast. Trunks versus Silver is our next death battle. However, it is a twist because obviously Trunks would kick Silver's fucking ass. But
No bias.
Yes,
No
sorry,
bias.
Bruno. I do know that this is a family-friendly show. I saw that. No, because of the obvious power difference between Dragon Ball and Sonic, we have decided to go with the Dragon Ball Heroes version of Trunks, also known as Xenoverse Trunks, versus the Archie comic Silver. So it's gonna get wild, guys. Get ready for a crazy episode. All right, that comes out in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, be kind to others, be kind to yourself, be awesome. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.